My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible with sword. He is true, he is mighty. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, I have seen him in the watchfires of a land and standing camps. They have built in him an altar in eagles and bats. I can read his righteous sentence in the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Christ was born across the sea, with our glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us strive to make them free, while God is marching on.
Thank you very much, United States Marine Corps Band. Why, my favorite branch of the service, United States. Semper Fi, my favorite branch of the service. Although my family has Navy, Army, Air Force, not one person ever ever in the Marines, but it's my favorite branch. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you.
Good morning, RV Radio.
Martin Luther King Day 2019. I always feel specially equipped to talk. And good morning, Missy Jenn, looking fetching in Kerrville today. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Don't forget.
Do not worry. Do not worry. I wear this because this is so super comfortable. I just absolutely love this shirt. And good morning to all of you, RV Radio, UFO, nice to see you.
And UFO.
I always feel special about Martin Luther King Day because of my personal history. Growing up in a city that was torn by civil strife and has a history of probably being in a state that was the most strife-ridden, where forces of northern abolitionists met southern Confederates and patriots, and it was growing up in Maryland was a very strange experience, because depending on which part of Maryland you grew up in, you were either a northerner or a southerner. There's no other state, maybe Missouri, can claim that distinction of also being a state that was torn to pieces by civil strife and race. Those two states will always share that common bond of being divided. Growing up in that city was sometimes fearful, scary. At other times it was glorious. But it was a time when I was young, and I'm old enough to talk about it, that it was really a city on the edge, Missy Jenn. It was on the edge of the emergence of, I don't want to say black power in a sense of a negative way, because remember, most blacks never took to the street at any point in time to do anything. But it was a time of militancy. The time of Martin Luther King was a time of a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of white flight out of the cities. People wanted to escape what they perceived was a changing demographic of the city that they did not like. Well, for those who couldn't flee, it was a whole different world, being down in the crucible of that. And I tell you what, the like for Martin Luther King at the time that Martin Luther King alive was not very much, especially in a place like Baltimore. Reason being, to a lot of people, he was seen as a disruptor, as somebody that came in and was upsetting the apple cart amongst a lot of blacks. I remember growing up and hearing people say, "Good morning, Sister Earth," and hearing people say, "I wish he would keep his mouth shut. It's going to get us into a whole lot of trouble." Well, we found out, what's up, Sambo? We found out that you had to break a few eggs to make an omelet. You had to upset the apple cart to have some idea of equality in this nation. It's kind of interesting. I started this hangout with the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Few people know the history of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, but to my way of thinking, this was really the beginning of the civil rights movement in the 1850s.
Hi, Josh.
How you doing, Josh? You got to go back to the 1850s and 40s when people started to have basic ideas, initial ideas of equality. Does one person have the right to enslave another person? Does one human being have the right to dictate and to govern the life of another? And of course, at that time, things were couched in religious and evolutionary thought of racial superiority, and we're what's best for you in the world. How you doing, Steph? Nice to see you. Those thoughts of we're what's best. Religion guides us And it was almost harkened back, Missy Jenn, to the times when the the Spanish would land in the Americas.
Morning, Sean.
Morning, Sean.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing good today, Sean. Nice to see you. Hey, Smash. Hey, Gabriel. When they landed on the shores of the Americas, and they would take the native Indian population and the forced conversions and the enslavement of indigenous American populations, Native American populations. They always had an undertone of we're what's best for business down here, right? Well, it really remained until the Civil War, I think. And I think more than anything else, we talk about speeches. We don't ever know the greatness of things until time gives us perspective on the meaning of that moment. And of course, we think of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, going up there and consecrating the National Cemetery after the terrible Battle of Gettysburg in July of 1863. Lincoln goes up and he delivers a speech in November consecrating that National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And when he's done giving his speech 77 years ago, conceived in liberty, blah, 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 will not perish from the land. He turned to his friend there on stage, the governor of Pennsylvania, and said, well, that was a miserable failure. Something like 268 words. I mean, the crowd was underwhelmed. You'd had these great orators stand up and deliver all these fiery things, and here comes Abraham Lincoln, stooped over with his head down, dark, gloomy day, and delivers a speech that only history would ever see as great, because people could digest things. Same thing with the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which many consider should be the national anthem of the United States. But of course, much religion, much Christian thought is embodied in that song, so it could really never be. But it was a glorious song. It became a rallying point for really the time that people first took up arms to really fight for, the abolishment of slavery. Initially, of course, the Civil War was taken up as a battle against people that thought states had the right to secede from the Union or not. And of course, Lincoln in the Northern view was no state has the right to secede from the Union. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Hence the Civil War. But what a great song that is, the Battle Hymn of the Republic. It came from a guy named John Brown. It was killed at Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, right? One of the first people that stood up for blacks, the first abolitionist. He and his son would have raids on federal armories, try to snatch arms and arm the population to rise up against slavery. Of course, he died in a firehouse in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. But they wrote a song, John Brown's Body, and they took that song. Julia Howe took that song, and after hearing the Union troops of the Army of the Potomac on the march during the early days of the Civil War singing that song, she wrote those new lyrics for the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Probably one of the greatest songs ever written, and a good one for kicking off Martin Luther King Day. Of course, to win a war is one thing, right? But to change hearts and minds, oh boy, that's something totally different. Right? I mean, just because you win a war doesn't mean that everybody's like, all right, we love the other side and what they embraced. The South had to go through that terrible Reconstruction. All the Jim Crow. 100 years after the Civil War was over in 1965, cities were burning. And I grew up in one of those cities. Hey, Nippy. I grew up in the great city of Baltimore, Maryland, mercantile shipping. Land of pleasant living, the old line state, north and south. So it was a real flashpoint for racial division. And I remember going into, and I've told it many times on here, going into department stores with all the ladies wearing their hats and having their white gloves on and going up to lunch counters. And one part would be for white and one part would be for colored. Restrooms would be for whites. Restrooms would be for colored. Amusement parks, buses, man, we accepted it. It's just part of life. Well, some people didn't see that as part of life. And I remember 1968 in particular, when I was 10 years old, and the stuff really started to burn. Because even though Martin Luther King gave this great "I Have a Dream" speech, I can specifically remember now, even hearing blacks worried this is going to set us back 100 years. But of course, you have to break a few eggs to move forward. So those memories of being in a very segregated, I wouldn't, the strange thing is at that time, I wouldn't even say it was a racist city. I would say it was a city that gave respect only because they believed that blacks should be in a certain place. And if they were in that place and contained and doing their own thing, everybody was respectful. But of course, to change the hearts and minds, and we're still working on that today. But only today do we look back at Martin Luther King's speech and elevate that, just like Lincoln's speech in Gettysburg in 1863, Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech in the mid-60s. Only in time have we looked at that and elevated that to greatness. I remember in 1968 standing on the rooftops looking down on the streets down below while the 18th Airborne, United States Army 18th Airborne, was flooding the streets of the city, and Army troops coming up from Fort Bragg in Georgia. And I think at the peak there was something like just short of 12,000 federal troops. People talk about the days, oh, the federal army, these government forces, federal forces should never be involved. That city would have burned to the ground had it not been for the intervention. The Maryland National Guard was overwhelmed. Mayor Tommy D'Alessandro Jr., Nancy Pelosi's father, was totally ineffective in dealing with the riots. The governor at the time, Spiro Agnew, later to become vice president of the United States, was so desperate he had to call out federal troops. And I remember large sections of that city, but it wasn't unusual. Washington was aflame, Detroit, all the big industrial cities. But out of all that, even 100 years after the Civil War ended, 103 years after the Civil War ended, we were still at it. And this today, I think Missy Jenn is the first generation that I look at, the very first one that I look at today. The ones that seem pretty much unaffected by thoughts about race. I think we've come a long way, but it's really people like Martin Luther King, I think, that make society more equitable and give people pause to think sometimes. Happy Martin Luther King Day to you guys, and thank you, Martin Luther King, for giving people pause on a day like today. Vegas Vixen, I want to give a shout out to you. maybe you should keep drinking more often. some of your best thoughts come when you're mincing your way through.
Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Some of your best thoughts come.
Sister Earth, Nippy,
Yeah.
Seymour, Smash.
Some of your best thoughts come when you're getting down on a bottle of vodka, and it's good. You know, you remind me. Let me just I'm going to refill my coffee here, and I'll be right back. This is the coffee time.
Yep, it's coffee time on MLK Monday. It's sunshine today out in California, at least in NorCal. Well, I think it's going to be sunny entire California. I checked the weather yesterday. I watched the weather gentleman yesterday, and we should have sunshine all week long, and then on Saturday we will be clobbered again with rain on Saturday, and after that we should have no rain again for quite some time. So we should have one heavy rain spell on Saturday, and that's going to be it. So,
all right, I am back. To get a little,
thank you, Mike.
Little re-hit on that coffee there today. Talk of the week. How you doing? Talk of the week. You know, it's nice to have somebody. It's nice to have a lot of people in life that really do have your back and go to the wall with you. And Vegas Vixen, I'm giving you a shout out here today, because you're one of those colorful people on YouTube. But I tell you what, hey, Fruit Pig, what's up, Bottom Line? Nice to see you.
Hey, Bottom Line.
Wow. Hey, Sister Earth, that's wild. Minus 12. 4 degrees, minus 12. Wow.
40 inches of snow?
No, it's 4 degrees and minus 12 wind chill. And I want to personally shout out to Vegas Vixen.
Hi, sweethearts.
You know,
Hazel.
Hey, Hazel, how you doing, sweetheart? Hazel, hi, Vixen. I said victim. I'm thinking of Vegas Victim when everybody calls Vegas Victim.
There were a lot
but
of victims,
one of the things that's been consistent, and one of the things that amazes me and really makes me happy, is that true friendship, you know, is somebody that can still be your really true blue friend, despite the fact they may not agree with everything that you do. You know, when you think of somebody like Vegas Vixen, she has to see me be pals with certain people that she cannot stand here on YouTube. But yet again, she has that one-on-one relationship with me, born by the fact that we did meet in person many times. And there's nobody I've really met on YouTube, Missy Jenn and I, probably more times than Vegas Vixen in real life down there. And it shows the power of moving beyond cyberspace and getting to know people in real life. And despite the fact that some people will claim how great their cyber friendships are, it's a whole nother exponential leap in friendship when you meet somebody in person. Your relationship will never be the same in a cyber world again once you've met those people. Hello, Sonny. Well, you know, Sonny, that makes two of us, actually, trying to reach her. And of course, I do wish all the best to Kat. Spirit says it should be that way if you're a true friend. I agree, but I don't define friendship for other people. Some people are unable to get out and meet people. I understand that. Their friendships are going to be defined by cyber friendships, and that's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing. But when you meet somebody in real life, like a Corey in Florida, like a Cooper, like a, you know, we lost our friend Drew And I'm getting some blowback for not participating in some memorial service, but I'll talk about that. You meet these people in real life, and you have an enhanced relationship, Missy Jenn, as I guess I would say, compared to being online. And through all the ups and downs of years and years here on YouTube, Vegas Vixen is one of those people that stands tall and has always defined really true friendship to me consistently. She allows me to be me and make my own decisions in life. Meet the people I want. Very nice person. So shout out to you, Vegas Vixen, for once again standing up for me and being a true friend. I love you to pieces. I'm always going to love you to pieces. Even though you have your space bubble, your personal space bubble, which I always respect. That means a lot to me. It's also a pleasure to meet people like Lori Green, somebody else that is able to have the vision solely on you, and has stood up for me numerous times over the last week. I really appreciate that. Two women that aren't fond of each other by any stretch of the imagination, in fact, probably polar opposites. But each of them I consider a friend, because each of them I've met in real life multiple times. That defines, hello, Luna.
Hello, Luna.
That defines friendship. And it's funny that those friendships are the ones that seem to endure, Missy Jenn, year in and year out. They stand the test of staying together despite the fact that cyber friendships often break up. People get at each other's throats. People have disagreements. That alone should be proof to all of you that there is a big difference between knowing people in real life and knowing people online. It's one of the reasons that I meet the people that I do, to be able to look into their eyes and see what they're made of, to be able to physically look at them and then measure what I think about them, their online presence versus what I'm seeing standing in front of me today. I have a couple of suggestions for Kat. Well, that would be great. Well, if you figure out a way to get a hold of her, let me know. Okay, because I have put in many communications to her and have might have changed her number. I'm not sure. For Kat, she's a friend of mine too. Nice thing about her too, we've had our ups and downs, man, and it's been vicious 2018. But we come together again in a type of mutual respect and caring, and having some heart for what somebody's going through in life. So Vegas Vixen, I really want to thank you for that kindness. You have a lot on your shoulders. You have a husband that's facing his own mortality here. You're young. Well, I can promise you one thing, you'll always have friends in Missy Jenn and I. Period. Yeah, she did. And then, Sonny, for the last week or so, I've been unable to establish contact. I don't know whether I've done something to irritate her or whatever, but, I've not heard anything from her. So, but I'm not one to, you know, she's got a lot going on with getting her life on the rails and getting her life on track. Yeah, thank you, Sonny. It's always a pleasure to see you. Always an honor to see you in the chat. For sure. Good old Sonny, retract those messages.
Snapshots.
I was never in that chat.
Snapshots have already been taken.
RV Radio, I think I did. I've just been overwhelmed with, you know, it's alternatively discouraging and happy and joyful to open up my morning mail these days. That's great. That's great. I show up when I think I can help someone. Thanks. Yeah, it's nice. I'm happy to see you. Always happy to see you, Rad. You know, I've always had the utmost respect for you.
Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Cheryl.
Good morning. Nice to see you. Good day. Happy Monday.
So, I don't know what your thoughts on Vegas Vixen, Jen. You know, and you've had a good relationship with her.
Stand-up lady.
Yeah.
Much respect.
Rock solid, and I really appreciate people like that in my life. They're always on the rails. You know, they never run off the rails. And I think that that's really a wonderful thing, because as you know, on my channel, things have been redefined for 2019. That's not the worst thing in the world. You know, if we're going through new adventures,
all I can say is keep on rocking the free world. Woo!
Missy Jenn's awful feisty today for rocking
and,
the free world.
If you're watching, best wishes to Randy also. Keep both of you in my prayers, and
yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Best wishes to you both.
A lot going on there in real life, which trumps anything in cyberspace.
Yeah. So
and
that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially I think
Love you both
when you're young, and I'm almost twice Vegas Vixen's age. But it's you know, I like to think I'm a sister to her, but I'm just saying it's a lot to take on when you're young.
Yeah.
You know, to look down the road for family responsibilities and wonder how you're going to get along. And every time we've ever gone to Las Vegas, she's always made time to be with us and come visit, come hang out, party with us, eat with us. And I think it's been good for her too. And I think she's another one that discovers that as time goes by, there's certain people in your life that are always there. You know, every single day. You might go months without communicating, but you have no doubt when you do communicate, your message will be heard. And you will be always greeted as a friend. I really like that. I really love that. We all make bad choices in life. We all make choices that other people don't agree with. But I really have to say that Vegas Vixen, multiple times she's seen me with people she would not even be in the same room with, yet still is able to have that relationship with me, which I really like. One-on-one, an individual in the midst of a sea of swirling relationships. Conclusion, real life relationships.
It's perfect actually for MLK Day.
Yeah.
There's somebody that gives their friends the personal space to say, you are my friend, but you can also have other friends beside me. Even though I don't like them, you can still be friends with other friends.
Good morning, Mallory Williams. Nice to see you. Enjoyed your content. Nice to see you out making content. Anybody that's watching, I suggest you sub up Mallory Williams. Very watchable. person, but she hits the bottom line. All right. Let's see, you're not going to put any links on my channel here. Thank you, Nozork. I don't allow people to post links within my chat streams. Nothing against you, but I just don't allow that. So getting on last night, I'm always so happy when I can engage Elvis and not have to put up with the nonsense, the utter sheer nonsense and the other crap that he does in life, all that BS showmanship stuff that he puts up there. And last night I spent about an hour and was able to talk about the Tampa RV show. Good morning, Issy, which is the largest in the United States. And to be able to get some feedback. And I sensed he was disappointed about the show because a lot of RV shows are staged more like state fair type of things where they have food vendors. Hey, Kerno, thank you. I love you too, gal. A lot of people go to these events and they sort of treat them as, what would we say, as more of like a fair atmosphere. So they're not going to be the best places to go and really be serious about RVs. And he was mentioning the fact that you put these $1 million Prevost motorhomes in this show. And there's kids jumping up and down on the couches in the Prevost. I mean, it diminishes. Hey, Perfect, how are you? It diminishes the value of the brand a little bit when
they're using a Prevost as a bouncing tent, a bounce tent, really?
I really had to laugh.
That's of bad taste.
Yeah, you got to really always think about how your brand is being presented. It seems to me it's
seriously.
Yeah, I know, Sister Earth. It's like
I would envision a bikini lady with high heels showing the countertops, the leather couches.
I would envision them in New York, Chicago, Miami,
Très bien, mon cher,
LA, San Francisco. You know, as Missy Jenn said, behind velvet ropes with, you know, with admission discouraged by people that...
Yeah, you have to show your ID. You have to be at least 4 foot tall, and you have to be like at least 16 years old. Have a certain maturity level before you can enter a Prevost.
Now, the nice thing is we have our RV shows come up in March here. So we have the local Santa Rosa RV and outdoor show.
I'm glad I didn't watch the video.
So we'll be over there. We'll be able to go over there and enjoy that show. I'm really looking forward to seeing that because I've never been to a big time RV show ever.
Yeah, it's good for you. You can climb in and look at all the
Climb
RVs.
in, jump on the sofas, and whirl around. But I had to laugh at the thought of these $1 million Prevost vehicles being at you know, there's most exclusive vehicles in the RV world, and you know, you might just, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, Mike. I think that'll be good content to
yep, Rosie can deliver that.
Yeah, do some good content out there. Speaking of, I continue to get really good feedback from the street streams and the streaming, and I'm really happy to say this afternoon, Missy Jenn, the sun is out, and I may actually be able to go out today.
Yeah, Rosie might go out searching.
I mean, I had to look outside the window today, and it's like, holy smokes, the sun is out today.
And it's blue sky.
Blue sky. Blue sky. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Let's see. Colonel 22. Vinny says, Vinny G has banned me. Can you believe that, Rosie? Good morning, Francis.
Good morning, Francis. Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, I think so, Sonny.
Did you watch the game? How did the game end, anyways?
In overtime, the New England Patriots beat the Chiefs 37-31, something like that. So terrific time last minute, and then the Saints lost to the Rams. So it's going to be the Rams against the Patriots in the football game.
So nobody give a crap.
Sonny, do you still have your pleasure way? I think you have a pleasure way or a leisure travel, one or the other. Yeah, a lot of people RV radio really enjoy the chooching and the street streams. And it's another thing that's kind of encouraged me to move away from the panel chats. Because quite honestly, that's really cool. Quite honestly, you know, you put enough of the same people together on panel day in, day out, week in and week out, you're inevitably going to have friction points. And sometimes you just come to the realization that it's kind of better to do your own thing, you know, and be out there. That way you're not, you know, you're not upsetting the apple cart. You're not contributing to the problem.
That's right.
You're making things better by being out there.
I used to live my life like that all the time. I just would do my own thing. Best thing you can do in life.
Yeah, that's good, Sonny. I can imagine yours is like, I can imagine, Sonny, yours. And I think I still have a picture of yours. Yours still looks like it the day it came off of the production line, probably clean. So I'm very happy about the direction that things are going in. And you know, if you watch that interview last night, that discussion I had with Elvis, keeping him very focused on the RV show, you can learn a lot of things in a very short period of time, which I really like. I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and I don't have to, you know, it gets to the bottom line about what's the poor quality. Colonel says, Rosie, your balls are bigger than Vinny G's web. Well, you know, I like to have an open chat here. Mallory said, I think panel chats are so 2017 live feed videos where it's at. I'm even considering. All right. Do some of those live streams. Woo! Get out there.
If you all think Georgie is cute, smash that thumbs up, please. Woo! Look at this cutie boy.
Well, Dirty Doggy, I would suggest that you take that up with Elvis then, okay? Yes, it's 2,000 like garage, dually conversion off-road, less than 15,000. Yeah, I remember, Sonny, years ago, you giving a tour of your RV, and I really still consider your RV to be the gold standard of vanning. You know, enough so that I knew you were right. I knew you were on the right track when Marshall was talking up your rig all the time. Yeah, Sonny's got, thank you, Colonel. Sonny's got the best of the best, brother, out there. I knew Sonny was doing something right. That's right. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Yeah, I don't think you're going to find better. You know, look at what a 2019 Road Trek. Look at the suggested retail price on that before you pay sales tax, before you put your options in. $159,000 for the 210. I mean, come on, right? I'm not putting $160,000 into a vehicle. There ain't no way. You know, 20 years later, you have a bucket of junk. Not going to do it. So let's see. Elvis supports Saddam Hussein. Yeah, well, he better get his shovel then and start digging Saddam's grave, wherever the hell that is. So
he was thrown overboard in the ocean, remember?
Well, I'm just saying, whatever. He better get on his deep sea diving suit and go hang around with Saddam then if he supports that. That's good. Its value is going up. No depreciation when I looked at price. That's why choosing does it. I don't eBay. I do e-tipping.
Zap.
I've never come on here once and asked people to donate anything to me. Ever.
Hey,
Good afternoon, Nathan. Hey, Granny takes a trip. Now, that fine line sets people off, and I really like that. You know, they want to try to close that grid. They want to kind of bridge that gap between e-begging and e-tipping, and they'll never close that gap because you'll never hear Rosie ever come on a chat and ask anybody to donate a thin dime. All it says, if you enjoy the content and you want to give a tip, you do. But even if you never reach into your pocket, I'll still be your pal, and you'll still be on my stream, and I won't ever be asking you for taxes to pay. Voluntary contributions for the stream. I'm about to make a major purchase at the end of the month for something that I hope is really going to amp up the future. I don't even know what Saddam Hussein's values were, dirty doggy, to tell you the truth. I wasn't a member of the Ba'athist Party and all the nonsense that went on with that. I could care less about that. Saddam Hussein is gone. So let's see, what else do we need to talk about today? Upcoming, like I said, the RV show, some more local stuff. You've told me that the weather is going to be good.
All the way up to Friday, the weather shall be nice. Then we will get rain on Saturday, and then the weather will be nice again for several days.
So it looks kind of nice when we're coming up weather-wise. So, you know, I'm looking forward to being out on the streams coming up. So, again, thanks for that thing last night. So, in wrapping up, it's a good day to think about the past. It's a good day to think about those turbulent 1960s and how crazy they are, and hopefully they were the basis for a better future for our country, hopefully.
And think about how you can be a better person.
Just, you know, being kind and being contributing and doing. I can't wait for spring either.
Positivity.
I'm really excited to be thinking about trees. I'm going to be keeping an eye on our fruit trees. I might give them another spray out there to fight that peach leaf curl, so we don't have that again. Anyway, thank you guys for being on a coffee time, the Martin Luther King edition. Thank you, Spirit's Heart, Mike, Sister Earth, Dr. Sonny. Very happy to see you today. Continued happiness for you. Yeah, Nathan, I'd love to send you that weather up in Toronto. I know it is brutally cold.
Hugs, love, and kisses to each and every one of you.
Thank you. Take care, Issy.